The story begins on a cold autumn evening when a wealthy banker hosts a dinner party. Many educated guests, including journalists, philosophers, and lawyers, discuss serious topics. The conversation turns to the death penalty and life imprisonment. Some guests argue that the death penalty is more humane because it ends suffering quickly. Others believe that life imprisonment is better because, as long as a person is alive, there is always hope. The banker strongly disagrees. He believes that life imprisonment is worse than execution because it forces a person to suffer for many years. A young lawyer, only 25 years old, argues that life is precious under any circumstances. He says he would rather spend years in prison than lose his life. The bet. The argument becomes heated. The banker, confident and proud of his wealth, challenges the lawyer to a bet. He offers 2 million rubles if the lawyer can remain in solitary confinement for 15 years. The lawyer confidently accepts the challenge. He believes that proving the value of life is more important than the money. Strict conditions are agreed upon. The lawyer must remain alone in a small lodge on the banker's estate. He cannot leave the room or meet anyone. He may not receive newspapers or visitors. He may read books, write letters, play musical instruments, smoke, and drink wine. Food and other necessities will be delivered through a small window. If he leaves even a few minutes before the 15 years end, he will lose the bet. The first year. The lawyer experiences loneliness and emotional pain. He often plays the piano to distract himself from despair. He refuses wine because it increases sadness and weakens self-control. He also avoids smoking because he dislikes filling his small room with smoke. He spends much of his time reading light novels and entertaining books to escape his isolation. The second year. The lawyer stops playing the piano and begins reading serious literature. He studies the works of great writers and philosophers. His interest shifts from entertainment to education. The fifth year. The lawyer suffers another emotional crisis. He starts drinking wine again and eats excessively. Sometimes he becomes lazy and sleeps for long hours. At other times, he writes pages of thoughts but tears them up. He laughs, cries, and talks to himself, showing signs of mental suffering. The 6th to 10th years. The lawyer undergoes a remarkable transformation. He dedicates himself completely to learning. He studies history, philosophy, science, medicine, mathematics, and languages. He becomes fluent in several foreign languages. To prove his achievement, he writes a letter in 6 languages and asks the banker to fire guns in the garden if there are no mistakes. The banker has experts examine the letter, and when they confirm its accuracy, he orders the guns to be fired as promised. The final years. During the last years of imprisonment, the lawyer studies religion and theology. He reads the Bible carefully, followed by books on spirituality and philosophy. Later, he reads works by great thinkers from different cultures. His reading becomes broad and intense. He seeks wisdom rather than knowledge. The banker's financial problems 15 years earlier, the banker had been extremely rich. However, through risky investments and careless financial decisions, he loses much of his fortune. Now, he realizes that paying the lawyer 2 million rubles will ruin him financially. The night before the lawyer is to be released, the banker becomes desperate. He decides that the only way to save himself is to kill the lawyer. The banker's visit late at night, the banker secretly enters the lodge carrying a key. He plans to suffocate the sleeping lawyer. However, before acting, he notices a letter lying on the table. Curious, he reads it. The lawyer's letter. The letter shocks the banker. The lawyer explains that during 15 years of reading, he has learned about the world through books. He has experienced mountains, oceans, music, science, philosophy, religion, and human history without leaving his room. He concludes that wealth, luxury, beauty, fame, and worldly pleasures are temporary and meaningless. Human life itself is short and uncertain. He declares that he despises money and material possessions. To prove that he has rejected worldly desires, he announces that he will leave the prison 5 minutes before the agreed time. By doing so, he will lose the bet and refuse the 2 million rubles.